In this video, I'm going to show you how you can find triads and 4-note arpeggios just instantly hidden within the shapes of the minor pentatonic or the blues scale. And the reason why we want to do that is that we want to be able to utilize every position, because every position has its own advantages, meaning in every position there are other things that are easy, and the brain is always going to seek what is easy and comfortable when you're in the playing situation. So if you're practicing something that's never going to flow, then you won't use it, basically. So, well, let's look into it. But the first thing I want to say is that once you start really getting serious about wanting to play in all shapes instead of just the first one, then the first step I would take is to simply identify, where do I have my favorite part of the first position minor pentatonic? Where do I have that in all positions? Because my favorite part of it, let's say we're in the key of A and I don't have my tuner kicked in, and I have my first position minor pentatonic in the 5th fret here, then what I want to do is I want to identify, where do I have my 2 middle string shape, like the 2 whole tone intervals here. I got the 5th fret on the D string and the 7th on the D, and then the 5th and the 7th on the G, and then I have my blue note right there. I also have my 3rd is right there on the G string and the 5th, so I know I can push that up to the major 3rd. Right? So that's I love that area, the phrase. Right? I love specifically that area very much. And so what I did was I said, where is that area when I go to the other positions? If you go to the 2nd position, then I have it on the 2 top strings, which is not that bad. Right? So now I know that, okay, I can always rely on everything I can play here. I can play up here. Right? And so where do I have this area in the 3rd position? Well, on the lower strings. I had that on the A and the D string in the 10th and 12th. In the 2nd position, it was the 8th and the 10th fret on the 2 top strings. And then where do I have that in the 4th position? Well, I actually have the same shape, but now it's kind of pushed around. So I have the 13th and the 15th on the B string, and I have the 12th and the 14th on the G string. But it's still the same, right? Right? So I have these fixed points, and then I can take the last one just so we have them all covered. And I have that on the 2 bottom strings, right? So I might, just pop on a backing track and then have fun, right? And then go, right? And then have fun, playing in all positions with the same freaking shape, right? That seems to be relatively easy, right? But so that's a quick trick that you can use, and then you can you can take the 2 top strings as well, right? Right? It's everywhere, right? Everywhere. Right? So if you do that, then pretty soon you have a pretty good grasp of what I usually do in the 1st position. I can pretty much do as well in the other positions. Voila, fantastic, right? So, but what I wanted to show you is just a small little thing that I struggle with in the 1st position, because if you want to play a triad arpeggio, and we know that the A minor pentatonic or the A blues scale contains an A minor triad. In fact, the pentatonic scale, the minor pentatonic scale, is a minor arpeggio with the 4th, right, and the 7th, and then the blue note as the flat 5th. So it's very close to an A minor 7th, only with the 4th and that flat 5th, right? And so, but when I want to play that in the 1st position, and I want to play relatively high on the top strings, because those are really great when it comes to getting heard in the mix when you're playing solos. And if I lay them out on the top strings, I get the same frets here. I get the, and that, of course that's pretty pretty easy to remember. It's just a G, B, and E string in the 5th fret. But it's it's hard to use because I have to play them all with my 1st finger or my 3rd finger, right? And so I have to do this rolling motion, and it's crap. It's not good. I don't like it. But then I noticed that in the 4th position, I have my triad. If you go up to the 4th position, and pretty quickly here, I'm just gonna mark it out for you. It's the 12th and 15th on the top E string, and it's the 13th and the 15th on the B, and then we got the 12th and the 14th on the G and the D, and then the 15th and the 12th on both the A and the E. And right here on the G string, I got a note there with my 3rd finger in the 14th fret. Then I got one in the 13th fret on the B string with my 2nd finger, and then I got the E on the high E string in the 12th fret. So I got one finger per note, and they're all separated by a fret, so it fits perfectly. And I can sweep pick them. And if I then add the 7th, which is in the 15th fret on the high E string, then I got a really... And then I can add the 12th fret, which is also the 7th on the G string. Right? Right? So now I got a really cool little shape here that if I go... If you play 12th fret, 14th fret on the G string, 12 and 14 on the G string, then 13th fret on the B with a downstroke, another downstroke in the 12th fret on the high E string, and then you pick the note in the 15th fret on the high E string and pull off again down to the 12th, and then you hit the my little favorite shape here, the 15th fret on the B string, and bend it up to the blue note. Then you got a really... Right, and then I can pull off down to 15th on the B and hit the 14th on the G, right? Right? So really cool little, and it opens up the sound because you get more distance between the notes because you're using an arpeggio now, right? But then I wondered, because if I go around the fretboard, where else do I have that minor triad or minor 7th? It looks a little bit different if you take it all the way down here in this course. I have taken, after 40 years of experience, the 1 or 2 exercises per technique, which is sweep picking, legato, alternate picking, economy picking, or directional picking, that will mean more to your development than any other single thing that you can do. On the low E string, I got my A here on the E string. I got the 7th in the 3rd fret on the E string. Right, so I got these 2 notes. Then I got the 3rd fret on the A string. Then the 2nd and the 5th on the D. So I go... Right, I can do the same thing up on the 3rd fret, down in the 5th on the E, and then down in the 3rd fret on the A, and down again, little sweep picking motion. And then I pick the note in the 5th fret on the D string, pull off again down to the 2nd, and then hit the 9th out of the blues scale. Right? And end on that. Pretty cool lick, and I can take that up an octave. But if I take it up an octave, I go to my 1st position minor pentatonic, and I got this barring thing, which is the whole advantage of the 1st position, but suddenly I have 2 notes that are in the same fret because of the B string, E string thing with the standard tuning. So it's a different shape completely. But if I play it up here, right, then I can play it with the A in the 12th fret in the 3rd position. So I get, right, right? I get it here, so I got the 10th and the 12th on the A string, and then I got the 10th on the D string, and then the 9th and the 12th on the G string. Same shape exactly as down here, right? Up here, it looks differently because of the B string, E string, but it's the same shape basically, right? Right? And suddenly, because I'm doing this, I'm seeing the same shapes across the neck, right? And I'm going into and saying, if I can play around that arpeggio and play all kinds of cool lines around that minor 7th arpeggio within the blues scale, then I can do that in multiple spots around the neck, and then suddenly the whole position playing kind of dissolves into, the position holds these little nuggets, right? They hold your favorite spots, right? Right? They hold your favorite spots in different places on different strings, and they hold these little cool ideas that you can then use in different parts of the neck, and depending on where you play it differently because it's on different strings, it's a different place, and it looks a little bit different if you're on the top strings rather than the bottom. So, and basically, you can go ahead and do that right now. You can simply identify, where do I have my cool spots here? You can do the first thing very easily, mark it out and start playing with the backing track in the background. And what I basically did about this is I came up with licks, lines that I was able to improvise with, so they weren't fixed. It was just like a bundle of notes, a way of arranging the notes, putting in some phrasing information, and then I had fun in each position, playing up against the backing track, and that's the way to get to the point where you want to be, of being able to effortlessly play these instead of it only being a scale exercise. But you can start right now. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.